You know, for well over 75 years, there's been one organization that's really been the main voice telling Pakistan's story. So today, we're going to dig into the Associated Press of Pakistan, the APP. We're going to see just how it shapes the news for millions and millions of people.
So who actually tells Pakistan's story? I mean, think about it. It's a massive question, right? But for literally millions of people, we're talking everyone from newspaper editors to government officials, that story, well, it starts with a constant stream of information. And it's all flowing from one single place.
Okay, so if you just take a quick look at their newsfeed, it is a whirlwind. Seriously. One minute you're reading about a high-stakes diplomatic visit, the very next you're scrolling through photos from a bustling local market, or, getting the latest score from the national cricket team. It's this huge, multilingual machine just constantly pumping out the nation's daily story. So let's break it down. What exactly is the APP? Well, it's the official, government-run national news agency of Pakistan. It was founded way back in 1949, just 2 years after the country's independence. And here's the key part. It operates under the Ministry of Information. So, from the very beginning, it was set up to be a really powerful state institution. Now, if you look at their official mission, it's all right there. The whole idea is to serve the nation by providing an accurate, objective, uninterrupted flow of news. Those words, accurate and objective, are absolutely central to its identity. The goal, on paper, is to be a totally neutral source of information for the people. And you've got to remember that mission, because it's key to understanding its role and, the controversies that follow it. All right, so to really get what the APP is today, we've got to go back, way back. Its origin story is completely tangled up with the history of Pakistan itself. It's a journey from colonial roots all the way to state control.
And what's so fascinating about its history is this major pivot. See, the APP didn't actually start out as a government agency. Nope, it was a national trust, taking over from what was basically a Reuters offshoot. But then, in 1961, it hit a massive financial crisis. It was about to collapse. And that's when the government stepped in and took it over. That one moment, it changed everything. It completely set the course for what the APP would become.
Okay, let's peek behind the curtain. How does the news story actually get made? Like, how does something happening in a small town end up on the national stage? Well, it all moves through a very structured, very centralized machine.
So it all starts with reporters out in the field, right? They gather the story, file it to their local desks. But here's where it gets interesting. Everything, and I mean everything, gets funneled to one place, the Central News Desk, or CND in Islamabad. You can think of the CND as the brain of the whole operation. It edits, it unifies all the content, and then it beams it out to all its subscribers.
Now we're talking about a pretty big machine here, with somewhere between 800 and 1,000 employees. But check this out. When you look at who does what, the journalists and photographers, they make up less than a third of the staff. The vast majority of people are working in admin and technical roles. That tells you a lot about the huge bureaucratic structure that's running things behind the scenes. And that big state structure, well, that leads us right to the heart of the matter, the really complicated part of APP's identity. Is it the objective reporter it says it is? Or is it something else? Maybe the voice of whoever happens to be in government. So let's talk about money. About 60% of APP's funding comes straight from the government. The rest comes from subscribers. Now, you don't have to be a genius to see the issue here. When the government is your main source of income, questions about your independence are just going to happen. It creates this huge incentive, this pull, to just go along with the official story.
And this brings us to this fundamental clash, right? On one side, you have that mission statement we talked about, to be accurate and objective. But on the other side, you have this constant criticism from the outside that the APP is basically just a mouthpiece for the government, whichever government that might be.
The well-known journalist Zamir Niazi really put his finger on it with this quote. He basically said that so much of the APP's time and energy is just spent writing down long speeches from the president and other ministers. His point was that a huge chunk of their resources goes to covering official government business, which means, well, what other news isn't getting covered?
But look, the world of media has been turned upside down, right? And the AMP has had to change with it. So let's fast forward to today and see how this old school institution is trying to make it in the super fast digital world we live in.
These days, the APP is way more than just a simple newswire sending out text. Not at all. It's a full-on multimedia operation now. They've got photo services, a video news service for TV channels, the whole shebang. And this is a huge deal. They have agreements with more than 35 international agencies like Reuters and AFP. That makes them the main gateway for global news coming into Pakistan.
And to get that state message out there, you got to speak the language, right? or in this case, languages. The APP has massively expanded its reach. It now puts out news in 8 different languages. And it's not just the local ones like Urdu and Sindhi. They're also using strategically important languages like Arabic and Chinese, which tells you a lot about who they want to reach on the world stage.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, it's really a story of transformation. It went from this small, independent trust to this massive, state-funded corporation. The APP isn't just a news feed anymore, it's become the official narrator for the entire country. And that's a role that's incredibly powerful and, as we've seen, incredibly controversial.
And all of this really leaves us with one big question to chew on. In a world where you can get information from anywhere, instantly, what's the point of a national news agency? I mean, really, can an organization like the APP ever be truly objective when its biggest paycheck comes from the very government it's supposed to be covering? It's a huge question, not just for Pakistan, but for any country trying to figure this stuff out in the modern world. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this breakdown.